Hello and welcome. Happy Wednesday. You're all live with Sandra at It's All About Choices. And every Tuesday, I get the pleasure of dishing out your weekly dose of nutrition wellness news for your mind, your body, and your soul. And I hope that everybody is having a wonderful day so far. I hope your weekend was blessed. And I thank those who for tuning in live every Tuesday with me. I do not take it lightly that you take time out of your schedule. And I thank those who are listening to the replay for taking time out of your schedule to tune in for some nutrition news that I hope that will help not just you, but also your family along closer to your health and wellness goals. And we are continuing our November theme on gratitude, shop to your drop, and eating on the go. And today we are talking specifically about yes, you can indulge on Thanksgiving Day and not gain weight. So we know we got Thanksgiving coming up at the end of the week. And so, how do we navigate through that? How do we make it through those days without feeling like we overdid it? And so what I want to know is, who doesn't want to fully enjoy the Thanksgiving favorites? In most cases, you're eating foods that are only around during this time of the year or at Christmas time as well. And so your inner gremlin says you won't have this again until next year. So just go all in, right? And you're not alone. We all go through those moments, but you don't have to feel so guilty. This is exactly what most of us do, but you shouldn't have to feel guilty about it, and you shouldn't have to feel like you need to deprive yourself. And so today I'm going to reveal three surefire tips to avoid having to loosen up your pants after that big meal. And for those who do not know me, my name is Sandra Goltry, and I am a registered dietitian nutritionist. And my passion is simply to help clients step into their highest level of health. And so by helping them to get unstuck with losing their weight and reaching their health goals and help them to make better food choices that work for both them and their family. So it's about building lifestyle habits that last the long term. And so as you are tuning in, please definitely feel free to say hello, give me your name, tell me where you're tuning in from, and tell me what your favorite Thanksgiving dish is. What are you looking forward to eating on at the end of this week on the big day? All right. So let's jump right on in. So, for those who are just tuning in, we are talking about yes, you can indulge on Thanksgiving Day without gaining weight or feeling like you overdid it. All right. And so, my first question, my first poll question that I like to ask. So, I love engagement. So, definitely don't hesitate to ask questions, to make comments, and to participate. All right. And so, how do you feel after eating the meal, typically in the past? How do you feel after eating your Thanksgiving meal? So, do you typically want to take a nap? Do you feel sick? Do you feel guilty or do you feel good? Okay, so what is your overall track record? Or maybe it's been an evolution. Maybe you've graduated from taking a nap and maybe you do pretty good. So, where do you fall in the spectrum? Do you want to take a nap? Do you feel sick? Do you feel guilty? Or do you feel like, okay, I did pretty good. I had a handle on things. So let's kick things off with that. And so let's start off with the first surefire tip to help you to avoid having to loosen up your pants after that big meal. And so the number one tip that you will hear me repeat over and over and over, you do not want to skip breakfast. Okay. This is one of the biggest mistakes that people make on the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. They do not eat breakfast. Okay. They kind of want to save up those calories. So this is a very common mistake. And the cliche is really, really true. So breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So you want to have a balanced breakfast to boost your energy levels, to keep your metabolism going, and to help you from showing up to the Thanksgiving table starving. That's the thing. You don't want to you'll eat more calories going into that meal too hungry, basically. And so you want to have a balanced and adequate breakfast that contains calories from carbohydrates. So you don't want to cut your carbs. That's another mistake that many people make. So you want to have your grains, you want to have your dairy, low fat dairy, you want to have some fruit, you want to have lean protein, you want to have your heart healthy fat. So you want to have all of that as part of your breakfast, and feel free to include the coffee if you like, but just know that that coffee is not breakfast alone. So we want to make sure that you are getting all the pieces in. And if you are going to do a smoothie or things like that, make sure the smoothie has all the pieces in there as well, not just protein or not just fruit or things like that. So we want to make sure that it's balanced and it's a full meal. Okay. And so my next question is, let's rewind a little bit. So what do you typically eat for breakfast on Thanksgiving Day? So let's think about maybe last year or a couple of years ago. What was your typical breakfast on Thanksgiving morning? So So or maybe you don't have breakfast. So even post that. So post what you normally eat, or if you don't eat, say that you don't eat anything. All right. And then hopefully this will kind of try a different approach this year to see if you get different results as you go through the day. Surefire tip number 2, save don't save up calories for the big meal. So it's a way to save up calories where it's not detrimental, where you end up losing the benefits of saving the calories. So this is another common mistake that people tend to make during the holiday season. And but any time an event is scheduled that involves, food that typically, high calorie, maybe even high fat, or things that you're not used to eating on a regular basis, or comfort foods. And so attempting to save up calories for that big Thanksgiving meal is definitely a recipe for overeating. Okay, so you want to set yourself up for success. So you don't want to show up to the table starving, like wondering when is the food going to be ready? How much longer is it going to take? So you will end up eating more calories because the brain has been deprived of nutrients, primarily carbs, all day long. So we want to make sure we want to stay on track. So the goal is to stay on track and treat the Thanksgiving meal just like it's any other meal. So that takes some time to getting used to. But if you eat a good breakfast, depending on how late your meal is, you may need to even still have lunch. And these will help you to prepare for still enjoying the meal, but not overdoing it. And so when food is given that power because you only eat it once a year, it does become an all or nothing type situation. So we want to try to avoid that all or nothing situation. And so meaning that you got to eat it all right now. And because you want to enjoy all the favorites. Okay. But listen to your body. When you're full, you're full. If you're concerned about the food not being there later, make a plate, put it to the side, but try not to overeat because then we pay for that later, right? So let's ask our next question. Let's rewind some more. So, what is typically your hunger levels just before it's time to eat the Thanksgiving dinner in this case? So, what is typically your hunger level? So, are you ready to eat? That's one option. Are you ready to eat? Are you hungry? You're hungry, but it's not like out of control? Or are you just starving? And typically, are you starving? Okay. And so think about those. And then also uh, the cook. So here's a message to the cook. Typically, the cook does not eat much throughout the day because they're cooking and they're grazing throughout the day. So we have to watch that as well. But even if you are the cook, still have breakfast. That's very, very important. And so where do you fall? So hungry, that's a good place to have yourself in that category because you still have control, but yet your body is ready. So starving is that danger zone because that's a setup for overeating. And so you want to avoid getting to that point of where you are too hungry. So and then if you're going into the meal hungry, think about did you have breakfast that morning? Or was the meal later than you expected? So did you not have lunch or did you not have some adequate snacks leading up to the big meal? So think about those things kind of proactively. And finally, the third step, the surefire tip of that I want to share that will help to avoid having to loosen up your pants after that big meal is not going back for seconds. Okay, so it's a little caveat there about going back for seconds because that tends to take most people over the edge. And so it's very common, especially when you go into the meal starving, that you're going to pile everything on your plate and you're going to have a pile high. You want to get everything all at one time, and rightfully so. Again, many items are on the menu that that's usually not something that you eat. And so you're looking forward to eating that. And so what you want to do is when there's so much food to choose from, you want to have a little bit of everything. And I do too. So no judgment zone at all. So but when everything tastes good, we tend to eat fast, and then we don't give our stomachs the chance to signal to tell our brain, hey, I'm stuffed, I'm full because we eat it so fast. And then we go back for seconds thinking, oh, okay, this was good and that was good. We go back for seconds. And then we shift from maintaining our weight to now we're overeating. And then, of course, over time, this can lead to a weight gain situation. And many times, definitely bloatedness occurs because typically the holiday foods are higher in sodium, higher in fat. And so things are going to sit on us a little bit more than the normal meals that we have. So in most cases, going back for seconds leads to this domino effect of going back for more, going back for more, and going back for more. So after the first plate, sit for a while, fellowship with family, friends, give the brain a chance to register fullness. Drink some water, something like that, but give it a little time, at least 15 minutes, I'll say, before you just kind of go back immediately to have seconds. And then again, make a plate for leftovers. That's another way to help you avoid feeling like you have to have everything on your plate at one time. Maybe just have some of the things, and then the things that you weren't able to get, have that to go, so you at least have it and not fear it not being left, especially if it's a large family or a large group of people that are eating. So think about that, all right? And so my next question, we're going to rewind some more. So how do you typically feel when you go back for seconds? So reflecting, how do you feel when you go back for seconds? So do you feel stuffed after you eat the seconds? Do you feel guilty? Or you don't really go back for seconds? You don't have seconds. So some people, they're good. They're fine. So where do you fall? Do you feel stuffed after you have seconds, or do you feel guilty, like, oh, I know I should have did that type situation? And so stuffed is basically saying you overdid it. Guilty is saying that you really had no business going back for more, but you did it anyway. And then you're not having seconds, meaning you're usually you're saving it for later. You want to eat it later instead of having it all at one time. So you're trying to pace yourself. That's a good place to get to, when you're trying to pace yourself. So I'm looking forward to those comments, and definitely chime in with any questions, any comments, and I will respond to those. Okay. And our big takeaway message is, I encourage you to wake up on Thanksgiving morning feeling joy, feeling excitement, and really ready to enjoy your family, the fun and the fellowship, and all the food. Okay. Don't feel like you should stay away from something. It's about moderation. It's about having fun, and it's about enjoying the reason for the season. So start your day off as if you would start off any other day. Okay. Have that solid breakfast, whether you're the cook or not, still have that solid, well balanced breakfast. Avoid saving meals by not eating. Okay. And have a meal 4 hours prior to the big meal. So if you know what time you're eating, make sure you plan and try to sustain yourself throughout the day. So make sure there's only no more than a 4 hour window from the last time you ate until the time that you're getting ready to eat. So that's a big tip to really help set you up for success on the day. And you want to feel ready to eat. So you should feel slightly hungry, but you shouldn't feel lightheaded. You shouldn't feel short tempered, and stay hydrated. So water, water, water throughout the day. So definitely stay hydrated. That's very important during those holidays, especially if you're running around, you're the cook, and things of that nature. And so the real question is, what do you eat before the Thanksgiving before the Thanksgiving feast? And so I got you covered there. So throughout this month, I have been giving thanks and showing gratitude over the past few weeks by providing recipes, okay, that will help you to avoid overeating, and to help prepare you and to give you some ideas on what to eat throughout the day, and what to eat to where you're not eating leftovers all day for the next several weeks. So you can save the leftovers for one meal, and then have other food throughout the day, and that will help curtail the weight gain as well. And so I encourage you to go out to my private Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/action choices. And I'll put this information in the chat so you guys can actually click on it. But there you will see the previous recipes, or the previous holiday recipes that I have given out, which was the chocolate almond bars. And so those were inspired for Halloween, the candy. And then you have the pear and pumpkin cinnamon smoothie. So for my smoothie lovers out there, a different spin, kind of a seasonal spin on that. And then you have your apple pie pancakes. And so those are something that you can enjoy year round. And then you have the vegetable barley soup. So that's something that is very, very fun. And then I also gave tips in the group on how, if you want to add lean protein to that, you're able to do so. But at least it has a good veggie base to it. And then this week we have a new one, and it is one more holiday recipe for you, and it's called the pumpkin loaf. Okay. And again, you can pull that out of facebook.com/groups Action Choices is where you can get the recipe from and download it. And I have a disclaimer with the pumpkin, so I'm typically not the pumpkin type person. However, during the holiday season, though, I do like pumpkin spice breads and I like the pumpkin inspired coffees. And if they're made right, I like the pumpkin spice pancakes. So those are good options during the holiday season when they're made right, right? And so for the record, though, as far as pie, I am a sweet potato girl all the way around. So I like the sweet potato pie 100% versus the pumpkin pie. And so, but this one right here, the pumpkin pie bread is a powerhouse food. And it is a great source of vitamin A, it's a great source of fiber, potassium. And so don't fall asleep on this one, okay? So this is a good one. So it's all about the spices when it comes to pumpkin. So it's all about how it's spiced. And so definitely download that, check it out, add that to your toolbox so you have several recipes of things that you can have on deck to help get you through without going into the Thanksgiving meal starving. Okay. And these are recipes that you can make throughout the year as well. So that's another bonus. All right. So thank you for tuning in with this week's edition of It's All About Choices. And I am Sandra, your RDN. And if you definitely share this with your friends, your family, post it on your timeline so everybody can kind of have that help to get them through the holiday actual Thanksgiving Day and to get them through this week as well. So these tips definitely are not just specific to the holiday. These are things that you can help to use to build those lifestyle habits of building healthier eating habits. And so next week we will talk about the day after. We will finalize our November theme and we'll talk about Thanksgiving the day after. Okay. And so what's going on the day after and how you probably have, and these tips can help you for Christmas. Okay. If it's already too late to implement some of the day after feelings, you can definitely implement them for Christmas. So I will leave it there, and I wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and to stay safe. Bye for now, and I will see you all next week.